Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I am Michael Benitez. Today we're going to be doing another train crash video. Today we're doing one about the 1987 Maryland collision between Amtrak train number 94 to Colonial and 3 Conrail diesels. Let's see what happened on that day. January 4th, 1987. Amtrak train number 94 to Colonial departs to Washington Union Station for Boston South Station. The train is led by two engines, number 900 and number 903. 903 is leading while number 900 is helping. The train is carrying 12 coaches with several with several travelers on board. However, the train will not reach its destination, for it will meet with tragedy. Meanwhile, 3 Conrail light engines are traveling on the same route that the Colonial was taking. Ricky Lynn Gates is at the control to the lead engine in the Conrail triple engines. Edward Butch Cromwell is the brakeman and the only person sitting with Gates as they drive the locomotive lightly through the northeast corridor, not knowing that the Colonial is barreling down on them. Signals warn the engineer and brakeman that the Colonial is barreling down on them. However, Gates doesn't respond. Instead, he just keeps going. However, when he does stop, he makes the mistake that will change history forever. When he realizes his mistake, he not knowingly stops his locomotives on the same track that the Colonial is barreling down on. The Colonial is flying down the northeast corridor at 108 miles an hour. However, there is no way to stop the train. What would happen next? 35-year-old Jerome Evans is in the lead locomotive when he suddenly sees a horrifying sight. The 3 Conrail locomotives are directly in front of his train. He slams on the brakes, but it is too late. In the Chase community of Baltimore, Maryland, Amtrak train number 94, the Colonial, slams into the 3 Conrail locomotives at at over 100 miles an hour, 108 to be exact. What happens is catastrophic. Imagine the engineer seeing the 3 Conrails ahead of him, slamming on the brakes, even though it was way too late. The lead locomotive of the Amtrak train, Amtrak 903, was thrown clear of the tracks and onto the forest nearby, killing 35-year-old Jerome Evans instantly. Amtrak number 900, however, is buried among the wrecked cars. One of the heritage-style passenger cars and the rest of the Amfleet cars pile on into the wreck. Then there's complete silence. People that are dead, people that are injured. For the first responders on the scene, it would have been most horrifying. 16 people are killed, all on the Amtrak train. The engineer, the waitress, and 14 passengers are dead, leaving several more injured. Cromwell, the conductor on the Conrail locomotives, however, only suffered a broken leg. Gates, the engineer of the Conrail locomotives, suffered no injuries. Upon impact, the rearmost locomotive of the Conrails, number 5045, once in contact with the Amtrak train, exploded and burned down to its frame. It was never rebuilt. The middle locomotive, number 5052, only suffered cab and nose damage, and was put back into service after being rebuilt. The front locomotive, number 5044, however, had little damage. 16 deaths, 164 injuries. That's the toll of the trace crash at Amtrak. At Amtrak number 94, the Colonial. As the wreckage was being cleared, everyone started scratching their heads. How could this happen? How could a sleek Amtrak train would collided with a stationary Conrail train? This will cause significant controversy, and let's see what we know about the facts. It is unknown how fast the Colonial was going. However, it is safe to say that it was heading about over 100 miles an hour. However, one of the coaches, a heritage coach to be exact, a heritage style coach, had only been built to go over 105 miles an hour and no more. So you could probably say that the Colonial was speeding. However, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about how did this crash happen and could it have been prevented. First of all, a signal had been put up to warn the Conrail locomotives that the Colonial had the right of way. However, no action was taken to stop the Colonial at the right to stop the Conrail locomotives at the right time, leaving the Conrail and the Colonial nowhere to stop. Cromwell and Gates were immediately suspended from Conrail during the investigation. Here we see the inside of the cab of 5044, the most front locomotive that took the littlest damage. Here we see that there's supposed to be the bulb to the approach aspect of the cab signal. This was built during the Pennsylvania Railroad era. However, one bulb is missing, and that's from the approach aspect of the signal cab. So basically, this would warn the engineer that a train was coming and to stop. However, the bulb was not in there. It is possible that they could have taken it out, but how was it not there? It's still unknown to this day. What's worse, however, is that Cromwell and Gates, the engineer and the brakeman, were smoking marijuana cigarettes in the lead locomotive. This could have easily affected your brain. So it was pretty much recklessness that caused this disaster. The Conrail could have stopped and the Colonial could have gone through without any problems. But no, for marijuana cigarettes, that was too much. The world was shocked when they heard about this accident. Cromwell, the brakeman, was cut a deal and was not charged. However, the engineer, Gates, he was charged with manslaughter under locomotive. Under Maryland law, that's a vehicle. So basically, he was sentenced to 3 years in prison. Cromwell was released in 1992, and became a counselor at a treatment center. In a 1993 interview, he did mention that he had smoked marijuana on several times on the job. So he had broken the rule not once, but twice. So, just like in the case of the Chatsworth disaster in 2008, the accident was on the engineer, but instead of texting it while driving, it was smoking while driving. The regulator called key features, saying that all bulbs need to be on and new signaling system to warn anybody that a train was coming. However, this accident could have been prevented. However, it was not. Even Gates blames the marijuana. Well, I pretty much blame him and Cromer for the disaster. Well, we will not know for what really happened on that day. I am Michael Benitez, signing out on the story of Amtrak, of the crash between 3 Conrail locomotives and Amtrak train number 94, the Colonial. Please think of this video as a memorial to those who lost their lives on that day, and hopefully their spirits will live on in peace. I'm Mike Benitez, signing out on the story of the Chase accident in Maryland, 1987.